It's the year 1926. We're returning back to the world of Hogwarts and Harry Potter. But this time, we're in America. And on this episode of Movie Breakdowns, I'm going to review Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Zakka. And before I hop into this episode, if there's a review you want me to do, let me know. Please put in the comment section below and I get to it as best I can. I also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Zakka, for $2 a month. You get to cut in front of everybody, get your review out way before it comes on Facebook and YouTube, and you get trade reaction, trade reviews, much more content. Now let's go ahead and get into today's episode of 2016 Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And what is this movie about? Well, this movie is about this young guy named Newt Scamander. I always want to call him Commander, but Newt Scamander, and he is trying to get a particular beast that's in this suitcase of his to Arizona. That is pretty much the basics of it, and he's pretty much passing through New York, and as he's trying to pass through New York, he bumps into another guy who has the same case similar to him, and that guy who has that case accidentally let the creatures that's in the case that Newt has out, and Newt and a bunch of other people have to go ahead and capture the beast. And that's pretty much the gist of it. That is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I enjoyed this movie. This was a fun movie for me. I had a good time. I pretty much I sat down, watched beginning to end, and I was really like, I didn't really have anything really bad to say about this movie. Besides the whole thing with what's his name? With Creedence, Ezra Miller's character, in that whole plot line. I didn't really care about that. Matter of fact, if you could have left the Creedence plot line out the movie, I actually would have enjoyed this movie a lot more. Like Newt and Jacob's chemistry, those things I really liked and enjoyed. And Jacob in this movie, well, I'll talk about his actor later. Dude, that character knocked out the park. The charisma behind him, the jokes he laid, the reaction to everything. Jacob is a character in this movie who doesn't have powers. He's not a wizard. He's just a normal human being. So he is like experiencing the world of wizardry as Newt Scamander, and the other characters are trying to find a way to capture these beasts that Jacob accidentally let out. But it wouldn't happen if he didn't bump into Newt. So Newt kind of fall at this, but Jacob is one of the best things in this movie. Like his reactions, his character, the charisma he brings to the screen is the best. Like I really enjoyed Jacob as a character in this movie, and I was like, man, I'm kind of upset I didn't really see this actor in any of the movies because this dude's knocking out the park in this movie. The things I didn't like with this movie is the Creedence storyline. I just didn't care for it. Not like it was a bad storyline. It was just like when they swapped to that storyline from the whole capture the beast situation to the Creedence storyline, it was just like this kid who's a foster kid who's abused, and he's kind of mild-mannered and meek. Matter of fact, it's a character that punches him in the face when he's crying. And I was like, that's not necessary. But the whole Creedence storyline and I can't think of the name of the mystical creature, or what it's a mystical creature that attaches, that's a parasite that attaches itself to human beings, and those human beings go and like kill other people, goes and kills the potential mayor of New York, and then also kills the evil lady who was running the orphanage. But this Creedence and his parasite, they cause the Wizarding world to be like on alert and be like, wait a minute, what's going on? We gotta stop this. And they kind of blame Newt for this because Newt has the case with the creatures in it, when in reality it wasn't Newt's fault. It was Creedence and this dude who was working with the Wizarding world as one of the police officers who was a bad guy. That whole storyline, I get why it's necessary, but at the end of the day, it just, to me, didn't bring much to the movie. It wasn't the most exciting parts. It was almost like exposition and moving stuff along and building up a story. But the whole Fantastic Beasts and the whole search and find with with Newt and Jacob was some of the best stuff in the movie. I truly enjoyed that, and I had a good time watching this movie. I thought this movie was a fun movie, and I probably will watch it a few more times because this, as far as my return back to the Harry Potter world, It's been great. This movie was a good opening movie though. I was like, I'm enjoying this. I'm having fun. I am having fun. Alright, let's go ahead and get into the cast and the creators and the writers and directors. So the director of this movie is David Yates, who worked on a few Harry Potter movies. He comes back to work on this movie. And writer is J.K. Rowling. She wrote this movie because it's her stuff. And as far as the budget goes, this movie had a budget of, an estimate by the way, $180 million. And it grossed worldwide $814 million. So it got its money back. Like it made it like doubled its money, 180 million to 814 million dollars. Like it really brought in the money for this movie, which it makes sense. And the movie's 2 hours and 12 minutes long, but it makes sense because this is like the return to the Harry Potter world. I remember seeing the trailers for it in theaters when I went to go watch 2016. It would have been some Marvel movie that would have came out around that time. I would have go watch. And I remember seeing maybe Doctor Strange. Probably had to be Doctor Strange. But I remember seeing the trailer for this and I was like, oh, looks interesting. I didn't know at the time that it was in New York, which is kind of cool. So we're not in, England anymore. We're actually in New York, so across the pond, and seeing the wizard world from New York, which that's one thing I was curious about in the Harry Potter movies. Like, we don't get, the world of wizards. Like, we're in one location. We're in England the whole time. What about, Australia? What about Japan? What about Germany? What about Italy? What about United States? What about Canada? Like, it'd be cool to see wizards around the world. So it's kind of cool to see the American wizards working with Newt, who is from England. So it's kind of cool to see that. Let's talk about the cast here. You have Eddie Redmayne, who played Newt. I thought he was good. I thought Newt Scamander was a cool character. He seemed a little naive at times. It seemed like he didn't know how to do his job. But also you had a few beasts or creatures trying to sneak themselves out of the suitcase, and Newt know how to capture them. Like he's very knowledgeable of how these creatures work and how to capture them. So, but at the same time, he was naive and kind of nonchalant about letting them get out. And he was like, oh, probably like in a suitcase with freaking mystical creatures, you can go into the suitcase and go down to the basement of it and then feed them all and take care of them all. One, why are you leaving the suitcase in the middle of nowhere? So therefore somebody can just pick it up and keep moving with it. Why are you not being more cognizant of what you do with the suitcase? Why not you being more like triple lock it, double lock it, so you just can't poop creatures out? Like there's multiple times creatures trying to get out and people are watching. Like for example, Jacob sees it twice in this movie and he's like, yeah, that's happening. Nah. Actually, the second time he actually flipped it down. Like he's like, oh, I hear the noise. Let me just click this down. You had Catherine Waterston, who plays Tina. I thought she was good. I thought she did great. Like she was a police officer, more straight edge, and her and Newt kind of have a thing going on, but she's more the straight edge character here. Thought she was fine. Alison Soto, who played Queenie, best. She is really good. Her charisma, her characteristic. She comes on the screen, like she lights the screen up. I like Alison's portrayal of Queenie. I think Queenie is a great character. And then Dan Fogler, who plays Jacob. Freaking love this guy. Like Dan reactions, his satire, his comedy, his sassiness to everything that's going on. His reaction is the best thing. Like he sees stuff happening. For example, there's a scene where Newt is trying to capture a creature who's stealing jewelry and stealing money and gold. And as this is like playing out in front of Jacob, Jacob's sitting there like, what the? Hey, anybody else sees this? Okay. Sure, I guess so. This is fine. Apparently this dude knows how to handle this. Like, and Jacob's he's not a wizard. Like the other three characters, they're all wizards, so they understand the wizarding world. Jacob doesn't. This is his first introduction to it. So we're kind of getting, we already been introduced to the wizarding world thanks to Harry Potter, but we're kind of getting to see what it is from the person who has not experienced the wizard world, experiencing it for the first time. And I just thought that was kind of cool. I just thought like his whole character and his reaction to everything and his introduction to everything. He's not geeking out, like he's not freaking out or anything, but at the same time, he's more like this is not right. And he kind of blows, like, not blows things off, but at the same time, he's not freaking out. Like, he's like, oh my gosh, I just crapped my pants. I just pooped my pants. No, he's just like, yeah, I had my fun for today. I'm going to take my case and run. And in reality, he ended up taking Newt's case. But I liked him as a character. I think he is legit the best thing about this movie. Colin Farrell, who plays Graves, as the police officer, the bad guy who's undercover kind of dude, I thought he was great. I thought he was fine. Not great, but fine. Like, I enjoyed his character on screen, but he was just like a generic, like, just not a character you got attached to. He was just the character who, he had a hidden agenda kind of thing, and he wanted to rise to the top and use Newt as a way to hide his bad stuff that he was doing. And Ezra Miller, who played Creedence, Ezra Miller was fine. He was fine. He was like a kid who, low confidence issue, orphan kid who got abused and everything, and he can turn into with a beast as a parasite, turn to like a soul sucking monster, and he was fine. Like, it was okay. Like, his character, his performance was cool, and the character himself was fine. I just could not care about his back. I didn't care about the character. It was just like, maybe because I've seen it so many times. Maybe I've seen so many storylines with the orphan kid who turns to a bad guy who's like, I never had anything, and I'm horrible, and I'm this and this. I'm going to take my powers I now have to get back at those and destroy everything in my wrath and power. Versus, the orphan kid who takes his troubled times to do good and do justice. Matter of fact, every superhero you meet, majority of them are parentless, and a lot of them take their ability and take the hard time they experience, become superheroes, and make sure other people don't go through that. I.e. Batman. I just reviewed Batman. So I maybe kind of just seen it before, so I just didn't care about his backstory. Not even his backstory, just the character himself. We didn't get his backstory in this movie. Like, they talked about it, but like, he was the B plot, and the B plot merged with the A plot at the end of the movie, and then you kind of find out Colin Farrell turns into Johnny Depp, and you're just like, fine. This was Grindelwald the whole time. Who they talk about Grindelwald the whole, like, the beginning of the movie, and here he is in the movie, and Newt got him captured, which, that reminds me, how did Newt know that Grindelwald was Graves? And I don't know. He just like, reveal, whatever he said, reveal, and then like, oh, look at that, Johnny Depp. I was like, sure. By the way, if you're a wizard, you can turn yourself into somebody else like that, like completely change your whole feature. How powerful are wizards? Wild. But that's pretty much what I want to talk about in the movie. Any other thoughts? The music was good. I liked the music. I really did enjoy the music. There's its own little unique music to this movie. The CGI animation was great. There's certain times where you can tell like it's a little off. You see like the CGI compared to the human person. But there's other times where it worked in the movie and it looked really good. So it was good stuff. Also, the whole reverse time thing in the movie, a reverse destruction thing. Thought that was kind of cool. And the whole white mind, because pretty much the wizards in this movie, if you're they call it nomads, but a human who, not human, but a non-wizard person who sees the wizard world, getting Dutch to the wizard world, you had your memory wiped, kind of like Men in Black, and it was kind of cool how they did that in this movie, and at the ending of the movie, how they did it with everybody, so everybody forget the events that happens. But there's also 2 people who died in this movie, and I wonder how they're gonna sweep that underneath the rug, because people saw what happened. Well, people who didn't go out, I guess the water also. You drink water, you forget stuff, so it's fine. But yeah, that's what I would put there as the any other thoughts. Is this a Friday night movie? Yeah, this is a Friday night movie. Watch your friends and family. And grading time. I'm going to grade Fantastic Beasts and Word of Final for 2016 a B. I really enjoyed this movie. It's a good movie. It's not the greatest movie out there, but it's also not like an average movie. I feel like it's a little better than an average movie. It's a B, 85%. I enjoyed this movie. I had a good time watching this movie. It was fun. That's pretty much it. I think the acting in the movie is solid. I think everybody did great. The only thing I didn't really care about the B plot. That just did not bring me in. The whole Creedence and Graves B plot just didn't do it for me. But the whole Fantastic Beasts and finding them and capturing them, the different unique ways to capture them. Like one, you had to put into a teapot. It can grow small if it wants to, or it gets bigger depending on how big the room is in. So if it's inside a house, it'll get the size of the house. Imagine it outside. Like it's just gonna be a giant skyscraper lizard bird floating around. Crazy. Like you don't capture, well, Newt captured by putting a roach into a teacup, and that's where the lizard bird went into. But yeah, the A plot was awesome. I enjoyed the A plot. The B plot, I could have cared less. So yeah, this movie gets a B for me, 85%. IMDb gives it a 7.3, which is a C minus, and Rotten Tomatoes give it a 74%, which you can go ahead and just round it up to a 75% if you want to. But that's a C minus C range, so they all give it a C. I give it a B, so I really enjoyed this movie. That's just my personal opinion. Alright, if you've seen Fantastic Beasts and where to find it, what'd you think? Please put in the comment section below. Other than that, see you guys next episode of Movie Breakdowns. Keep being awesome. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I really appreciate that. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If there's a review you want me to watch or do, let me know. Please put it in the comment section below this video. Also, you want to watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns, it's right there. Just gotta click on it and you'll be able to watch it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Love y'all, and keep being awesome.